What's up, fight fans? Your boy P. Welsh here. We got UFC Fight Night Vettori versus Dolidze coming off a 7-3 record and the Francis Marshall robbery. So, kind of going in there, feeling hot again. Another winning week. Starting off in the Apex this week, early start time, 4 p.m. Eastern. Yanisi Dubin versus Carly Judas in the women's flyweight division. Dubin making her UFC debut. 6-0 and versus Carly Judas coming off 2 straight losses. But one in the UFC, so let's see what exactly shakes out in this matchup. And I don't understand it, looking at the odds, looking at the potential. Dubin has, like, legitimate KO power and not taken a couple L's in her career. I know, like, Kara Katie's not a bad fighter, but who's her other one against? You know, Bop and Shannon Clark on the, the contender series to get here for Dubin. I think she's got a good chance to win here. Big underdog. I'm kind of taking the chance on Dubin here. Dubin. Just because I think she'll be getting the Dubin, man. For some reason, the power seems there. I don't really trust Judas. Even, like, if this was more of a pick'em, I would be more apt to probably pick Judas. The fact that it's like, I don't know, sometimes they just don't get the odds right on some of these fights, and it makes me just think that maybe this is one of those situations. So I'm willing to go out on a limb here without having much in there except for, a few past results. I don't even remember really too much fight time from any of them either. So I think it could be I think just Dubin with the power, with the explosiveness, will just do the damage to win the fights in the moments and control it. And I got an upset here to start off the night. Let's go, baby. We're gonna go to the UFC men's lightweight division. All right, this fight might beat scrap, but they're taking action on it. Evan Elder versus Marat Murderos. 9-2 versus 9-1. And a very even matchup they had here. I was going to lean Evan Elder here just because of kind of his UFC performances of late have at least been ascending. And, just not as much for Medeiros. And again, I don't know if Medeiros is actually going to be in there. It doesn't say what's coming, if it's actually can't. Okay, here's what happened here. I got it rescheduled. We got this fight has not happened. It says Morados against Austin Hubbard in March. Moving on, women's bantamweight division. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Josie Nunez versus Priscilla Cacciatore, 10-3. Nunez coming off a loss versus Cacciatore, 12-6, coming off a loss. 5-inch. Our girl Josie's very short. We know that by now. We're big Josie fans here. And that being said, dude, I got Josie 10. She lost to Cavalcanti and Chelsea Chandler. She definitely beat Chandler. You go watch that fight back. She beat Chelsea Chandler. I don't know that they gave her that win there. Cavalcanti was very close as well. And, I just like Josie. I know she's always going to be under that big, height disadvantage, but I always think she does massive damage, is explosive, has great kicks, and wins a lot of the fight. I got Josie Nunez here. She's a bit, kind of a favorite here. Younger fighter, more explosive. I just think she's gonna I don't know if this one gets to the finish. I think she can chop the legs down enough and do a lot of damage, get her into a bad position, and the fight could be stopped. Notoriously, I always think the women's fights can be just decision fests. But actually, I think these first two, this one more than the other one, has potential to end early. I put Josie's one of my top picks this week. I put her in one of my pick parlays. I just think she's one of my favorites that I kind of really like a lot in this situation, in this matchup. Coming off a couple losses too, I think she really puts on a show. She's not just going to come out there and not look good. Like, she's not just going to come out there and think too much. She's not going to try and wrestle and be something that she's not. She's going to throw and throw and throw, and I think she'll just do volume and win. And Cacciatore, it just could be a long, tough night, dude. Josie's tough, and she got good long arms too. Like, look at her arms, 67-inch reach on the arms. She got pretty long legs for being 5'2". Like her this is her torso being small. Her limbs, she does a lot of damage. She gets really dangerous when she's in there. She can dodge punches, slip them, and then hit you with, let's go, Josie. I think that's good. I put Lima in there too. We got Andre Lima versus Daniel Barres. Barres 17-6. Lima 10-0. One thing I think why he's a big favorite here is I think he may struggle on the scale again to make 125 flyweight. I think this could be a catchweight fight for sure. And we'll have to figure that out. We'll see if he struggles on to make even 126 with the allotment, right? So that, I think, is a huge caveat for why Lima's a favorite and why I think he's actually just worth picking here. Because again, I wouldn't want to go on Barres and then Lima miss weight and then be like, okay, well, Lima's again 127, even if it's not that bad, right? But he just can't shake it. But so I hope he makes weight. And that being said, if he does make weight, I expect him to do pretty well. I don't know necessarily expect to finish, but that's one thing I think with like the guys finding the right weight class, especially early on in their career, like Lima, like is the cut too big? Is going up better for them? Like, you've seen that over time. Now Barres, I think, is a good opposition for Lima, but he also hasn't really shown you anything. Just the two UFC losses to Filio, which we had, and then Almontrato. I don't even think he might not even be in the UFC anymore. He hadn't looked so good in his last few fights. Lost to Barres on a fight night, so this is a rematch here. No, never mind. I don't know what I was thinking there. Scratch that, editor. We got Andre Lima here against Daniel Barres, so we'll see what happens. I think Lima's a big favorite for a reason. I think he's a big, powerful striker. I think he's, again, just a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, but we'll see if he can make the weight. But I do think he's right there with Josie. I think him, Josie, and Acosta Cortez on a 3-pick. Just kind of felt confident in those fighters and as favorites, and where I'm kind of like Andre Lima here this week. I just think he's got a lot of talent and a lot of potential, a lot of power for 125. And even if he doesn't be able to, I just think at some point too, he can get the guy against the cage and get him down. Based off I think he works the body really good. I think he does a lot of damage, and I think he's very explosive of an athlete. Andre Lima, I think, will come away with the victory, move it to 11-0. Next is the bantamweight division. We got Carlos, not Chito Vera, versus Josas Musasa. 11-4 versus, what's Musasa's real record? 8-0 Musasa, making his UFC debut against Vera. 11-4. Some losses to Nakamura and his lost to Brad Katana on the Ultimate Fighter. Katana's been cut. I think this is Musasa's big favorite here, and that's for a reason. Vera is 37 years old. Musasa, let's see what he has in there. I think he should probably finish this guy. Crazy. I mean, I don't even know what to really say. It's not like I've watched him. Musasa. He won on the Contender Series by split decision, and has got a lot of finishes in his career before that. So let's see how he does against somebody that is a professional fighter, against making amateurs, right? So should be interesting. But I mean, there's a reason why this guy's a massive favorite. They expected him to put his lights out. I mean, big age advantage, 23 versus 37. Musasa versus Vera. So let's see. See how this shakes out. I mean, I got Musasa all day here, easy. First round, probably. Like, usually when they're that big. I mean, look at it. The last couple weeks, we had big favorites that came out in the first round KOs with Hoofy and Carlos Leal. So that was pretty massive. Something like that. So, wow. I think he's got opportunity. And like I said, maybe not in the first round, maybe in the second round. Let's see what he wants. He probably wants some fight time. But, again, you really just want to fight the guy and not take any damage and knock him out as fast as possible, right? So let's go Musasa here. Moving on to the light heavyweight division here. We got Dayar Nurgaza versus Brendanson Hiberio. Nurgaza making his debut. What do we got? 10-0 versus Brendanson Hiberio, 16-7. Hiberio coming down from the heavyweight division and looking much better since his no, I guess he's always been light heavyweight. He fought Kai Machado there in November. Maybe that was look at that fight. That for some reason I felt like these guys fought middleweight for some reason. But no, they fought 205, and Hiberio's looked pretty much better in his last couple fights. Gazudarov, and I actually kind of thought he won that fight, and then Kai Machado he won. But Nurgazayev, we're just gonna pick the win here. It's kind of more of a fade against Hiberio. I just think he's got a punchable chin. I think he kind of stands upright and takes a little bit too much damage here, and I think this guy Nurgazayev is just going to put his lights out, man. He just, I don't know. When they bring in some guy like this, he's head kicking ground punches. Like, he's throwing kicks like that, bro. He's been put out like that so fast. This could be another first-round KO. I don't think he's as big as a favorite, and I like that even more because, like, I mean, again, making his debut, but and I just think it's because Hiberio has looked way better in his last two performances, and I don't know if he gets him out in the first round here, but I definitely think he can get a finish here late in the fight. Hiberio is tough. He is tough, but, I mean, if you get chinned up, you're going down. We saw that against Min Ying Zhang or Zhang Ming Yang or, we'll look at his name. I'm always freaking botting out on those. But I do like Nurgazayev. But Hiberio's a live dog, one of the live dogs. I think we can get – this card is crazy. I think there's like 13 scheduled, 14 scheduled fights. I think it's going to be very 50-50 between favorites, 50-50 between underdogs winning. Some situations, the favorites are going to look really – really awesome, and then you're going to do some situations where the dogs will be like, how are they underdogs, And so this is one of those fight cards I think it can go so many different ways. Not the most star-studded, but I think it's a very action-packed card. I mean, if we get a decision fest here, I'd be highly shocked. I think we got a lot of people that can potentially put the lights out on a Saturday. Sometimes these are the best cards. You got the smaller Apex Arena, not worried about the the big lights and performances, and maybe that doesn't affect so many people over time. And I think it does have an advantage for certain people too. Like some of the next few fighters, I think have a way big advantage. Andre Lima is one of them too that I think has a good advantage in the smaller octagon in somewhere that he's more familiar with, especially to Dubbin. These people making their debuts not in an arena versus some. I mean, yeah, it's not really going to take a chance on an arena fight with people that don't have much experience, but that also plays way better to the people. Something else to break down. I need to make some notes, and I got to start like maybe a little segment, scouting reports or something like that. Just general trends and stuff. But we'll go Nurzagayev against Ribeiro. Move on to the women's strawweight division, and I think this is one of those fights. We got Stephanie Lucindo versus Sam Hughes. Luciano 6-1-1 coming off a win versus Sam Hughes 9-6 coming off a win. A little bit of a height, reach, and leg advantage for Stephanie over there against Sam. She's tough as nails. Hughes, which is women's strawweight. This one seems like it's going the distance if it had anything bookmark on it. I like Sam Hughes on the upset here. She's just one of those. She's like JJ Aldridge, man. They're mirror fighters. They're just tough. They know how to box. They know how to fight. They know how to defend. They know how to scrap. They know how to rally. They know how to fight. And I just think volume. She's gonna look good in the octagon as an upset. I think this is one of those ripe upset situations there. Sam Hughes by decision. I think is just something that I think she goes to the decision. She's tough. She's like I feel like there's no reason Luciana. This should be way more of a pick'em. I think some of these women fights, I don't understand how they're getting some of these odds. And Sam Hughes, just like JJ Aldridge, she was a couple weeks ago. I mean, based on if you just watch the fights, she's always going to rally. Even in the fights that she loses, it's very close, right? She might just lose moments, and even the people that she lost to are pretty good fighters, right? So, like, is Luciana going to prove that how good or, let's see what happens here. Sam Hughes has spent a lot of time in the octagon, and Luciano, one fight. That's a big difference to me. Like, let's see what happens. Like, she hasn't really fought any big competition. Hughes has been against everybody. I don't understand it. At Sam Hughes, I think she puts on a clinic. I think it's unanimous decision. Bam. Let's go. This is another one right here. Got Waldo Cortez Acosta heavyweight bout against Ryan Spann, moving up from light heavyweight. Cortez Acosta 12-1 coming off a win. Ryan Spann 22-10 coming off a win. And I mean, I don't understand how you can really get behind Spann here. He beat Ovin St. Preux on a guillotine choke. I probably picked OSP on that one, so get me wrong if I got Spann wrong on that one. But before that, he had not looked too sharp. And I got Cortez Acosta, man. My dude is clinical in the octagon. At heavyweight, Spann's going to have to deal with all that. He's probably going to get taken down. He might get choked out. This guy in the octagon is very composed. Him, Jamal Hughes, these heavyweights that, and he performed against Roberto Despan Sage. I think that was in a big arena, too. That was on a fight night. So, I mean, like I said, he's very comfortable at a UFC fight night. He's been there way before. Ryan Spann, necessarily not always in there. To me, this is a huge Cortez Acosta spot. I mean, I just, it's hard to trust what Ryan Spann's going to come out. He just hasn't looked the best over time. And Cortez Acosta has been just getting better, as boring and as bad as it looks sometimes. Like, not excuse me, it might not always look good to the fans. It wins a lot of fights, and I think this is a situation where he can just look so boring and he's just gonna win the fight, and I'm picking that. I got freaking Cortez Acosta, man. I think 5-1 in the UFC, only lost to DeLima, who's a monster, by the way. So Ryan Spann used to cut in 205. He probably just don't want to cut weight no more. Against somebody that's a natural heavyweight, I think this is easy Cortez Acosta spot all day, all week. Run it back again and again. Next one, Su Young Yu versus AJ Cunningham. Well, 14-3-2 no contests for Young Yu. AJ Cunningham 11-4 second fight coming off a UFC loss. And again, this one, I think there's a bunch of big favorites this week. Like, I think there's a bunch of minus 300, 400, 500 favorites. Young Yu being one of them. I think one of them loses. I don't know who loses. I don't think it's Carlos Vera. I don't think it's Andre Lima. I don't think it's Nurmagomedov. It might be this fight. Not sure what's going to happen here. I really don't. Not a lot of experience. You know, we got 1-0 against Fight Night decision against Dolidze. That was what? November 24. And AJ Cunningham's second fight coming off a loss in his debut to Ludovic Klein. Front kick to the body. I mean, Klein's a gangster. So, I mean, but like, again, not too much experience here with one of them, both of them. This one's really going back and forth. Like, I think, I don't know which one of them on the cards. There's so many fights on the cards. The odds, like I said, I got you with my my plus 300 at the first fight for the women. I think that one hits. Sam Hughes is a big upset dog, but one thing that I think about too is just I don't know about a lot of these fighters. Now, Young Yu can go out there and starch AJ Cunningham and it not even look close, and you can be like, okay, this was not the one. But man, oh man, he's a big favorite for a reason. We watched the one fight, but just winning by decision, it's gonna be close. I think AJ Cunningham can bring a game dog, be dog in the game. And I really want to pick one because I definitely don't want to pick the other ones that are coming off because I do believe that this is the situation where it happens. And I'm going to go put on the official record, big upset here, AJ Cunningham. I know. I just have to put my money where my mouth is, and I think one of them happens, and I'm willing to be wrong on this one. Of the experience factor, bantamweight division, AJ is pretty large for the division. Young is 5'6", so I'm but he's got the grappling, and that's where I think the advantage comes in for great rate. Like if he gets his freaking arms on him and he can grapple, like what is Cunningham's grappling ability? For submission wins, so at least like maybe he can like compete with himself. Like with him. I don't know what I was saying with himself. Of course, we're always competing with our. I got AJ Cunningham with the upset here. I don't get it. So, again, this one seems to me a little bit closer. I get the other ones, and I'm really excited about the other ones, and I'm picking most of the other ones, and this is the big upset that I'm picking because I could just see the metrics being a big factor here. 4 inches, but again, it's going to come down to the grappling ability. I think I remember that the Young Yu versus Jubilee fight or Dolidze fight on the fight night, and yeah, it was a back and forth. He definitely scrapped really well on that fight. I remember because I think I picked Dolidze on that one, and we got it wrong. So he was an underdog in that fight, and he ended up fighting pretty well. But I'm just gonna pick AJ Cunningham here. Again, this just seems like one of those that seems a little silly. But bang, we're gonna do it. Moving on. Bantamweight division, Damon Blackshear, 15-7-1, coming off a win against Cody Gibson, 22-10. Coming off a win. Again, dude, I love the UFC, man. They just put some fire matchups in front of you. Blackshear coming off a win against Stanman, losses to Montel Jackson, and looked way, way better. I mean, he got caught by Montel Jackson, who's, I think, a great striker. Lost to Batista is nothing. If they run it back, he might even get him. Gibson, big underdog, does not, I don't think he's got it in him to, maybe catch Blackshear. I just think Blackshear is going to look pretty good. I think sometimes fighters really take a loss and they see that they have flaws in their game, but they also have to highlight what they do well, develop that over time. And I think this is just a good spot for Blackshear to get some good octagon, get some good training, get another good experience. I could definitely see him not getting a finish, getting a nice decision win, because I think Gibson's a pretty tough opponent. Going to go out on a shield. Going to scramble, going to win some moments in the fight, but I think over time, I think Blackshear's got great grapple game, and I think he's going to end up getting the better of Gibson in a certain spot when Gibson tries to make a move, maybe makes a mistake, and that's where I think Gibson kind of loses a lot of his fights, right? It's hard to recover in this crazy division, right? You get caught and you just go down and you just lose moments, lose space in the octagon, lose damage, and as a wrestling, I could see Blackshear by submission here. He's got a plenty on there, can get caught in a guillotine, choke. You know, I think he actually hit a twister, one of the only twisters in UFC history. He is an elite level grappler against a wrestler, which, you know, he should be able to dominate the fight. So this, again, could be Cody Gibson winning a lot of the fight, but losing a few moments and getting finished. So I like Blackshear here. Matchup made in heaven. Let's go, baby. Lightweight division. We got Alexander Hernandez versus Kurt Holubov. Hernandez 15-8 coming off a win versus Kurt Holubov 22-8 coming off a win. 2-inch reach advantage, 2-inch height advantage, 2-inch reach advantage for Kurt is on the height. Alex on the reach. And this one's pretty back and forth, pretty upset heavy. I got this thing where I don't think I ever want to pick Alex Hernandez to win a fight here, even if he does give me a loss on the record. He's just not. I'm not a big fan favorite of him. I'm gonna pick Kurt here. I don't have a lot of confidence in that. This is probably like an anti. Like if you want to go pick that, nah, I'm gonna reverse that. I'm going with Alex Hernandez. See, I mean, I hope he gets slumped. This is why I gotta pick Hernandez. Reverse psychology to get him slumped. If I pick Kurt, like rooting against Hernandez, he's just gonna freaking decision me, split decision. But yeah, let's guy like Hernandez by split decision here against Kurt. Gonna look probably both. I mean. 6-year age advantage. I mean, Hernandez shouldn't lose to this guy. You know what I mean? I hope Kurt touches him up and finishes him really well. But yeah, I mean, he's looked well over time. You know, a bunch of his losses came many years ago. His only loss recently is to Trey Ogden. Like, I really do think Kurt's live for a win here. He's only a slight underdog. Hernandez, he is a tough fighter, seasoned veteran, puts in a lot of time, going to come make a professional effort, and that's why I just definitely think he gets the win too. Like picking Kurt is straight a hedge on Hernandez as a fighter. So as I pick that, I'm going to actually pick the reverse because I kind of made the resolution with myself this year when making official picks. I don't want to be picking against just fandom like that from time to time, even if it's like a slight potential. And I hope I'm wrong here, right? But I'm picking Alex Hernandez. The official pick is Alex Hernandez, the great. See if he gets the job done. I think he'll get a unanimous decision. He always looks very good in the octagon. I think the judges really like the way he looks. And I definitely think Kurt is live for a win here. He like I said, he's looked way better in most of his career. Now, granted, not UFC opponents, but, fighting, coming back up off of his, UFC. This is a big fight in his career. This is a massive moment for both these. Hopefully we see a finish one way or the other. I think for one of them to really kind of like, we don't want both their careers to stall out via decision on a boring fight, right? We want somebody to do something. Let's do it. Let's go, Alex Hernandez. Kurt, it's time to show up, show out. Move on, ladies and gentlemen. Got the featherweight bout. Sung-Woo Choi, 11-7, South Korea versus Kevin Vallallos out of Argentina. Featherweight division. And big favorite, 23 years old, standing 5'7". Big height advantage for Woo Choi here in the featherweight division. But Kevin Vallallos, Argentinian striker, massive KO power. Reminds me of a little bit of an Esteban Robovic, and I'm going to try and get ahead of the curve. I'm not going to pick Woo Choi, even though he's probably maybe one that's live for the upset. I like the power here. For some reason, I feel like the Argentinians and the Brazilians, they can develop these guys that put on incredible athletic performances, and we have to see it from Vallallos here, Kevin, and that's where I'm going with. I'm not going to put Sung-Woo Choi. I really just have no confidence in him either. Lost to Steve Garcia, one round punches. Lost to Trezano, lost in the first round, I just lost to Koulibaly. I lost to Alex Caceres, beat Julian Acera, beat Zala 4 years ago. I just can see he's been a long time vet in the UFC, absolute long time vet, 10 fights. But I think there's a reason they got a couple of these seasoned veterans against new debutants in there with KO potential, because I think the UFC wants to see, bro. You got to be able to put these guys lights out. If you're a real contender, you're gonna put this guy that's been a seasoned vet's lights out. If you're not as good, if you have way bigger flaw in your game, the UFC will expose it and you'll go to decision, and you'll have to improve on it. There's levels to this game, and we'll see it early on. I mean, young fighter, but like sometimes I think don't know enough, and you just go for it and you win, and that's why I think Kevin Vallallos wins here. I just think something just speaks on the potential, and anything can happen in the fight game, right? Like speaking uncertainties like that, I do just pick them, and I do think one of these big upsets happen, but not here, not with the potential on it, right? potential with that big upset against AJ Cunningham is like they're both very, very seasoned or very similar, experience levels, right? Here, there's not a big experience. There's almost a reason why there's a stretched line here. That reason, I'll take Kevin Valles. It's kind of the same thing with I guess debutante, but I mean we're in the Apex, so all things considered, like some of these fighters making their debut in the Apex might not be as high level anxiety if it was an arena based on what their past experience in their amateur, you're fighting in front of almost probably more people there in a way than in front of the 1K Apex. That being said, I think it's sometimes a advantage for these people making their debut. Like I gotta make breakdowns, split decision percentage. Got to make debuts versus in arenas versus the Apex, and break down some numbers. Do a little bit more stat breakdown. Down for it though. But I got Kevin Valles here. Moving on to the co-main event, ladies and gentlemen. Chidi Gincani versus Ezekiel Zalikis dos Santos. 24-10 for Chidi. 6'3", 80-inch reach versus dos Santos. 5'11", 73-inch reach. And this is Chidi all spot. I don't know how Chidi's a dog here. Bro, my man's straight Muay Thai banger. He's just going to hold this guy's head down and beat him to a pulp, dude. I don't understand how Chidi, with 14 KOs on his record, how he's expected to lose against a guy that's at a massive disadvantage at the height and reach, man. My guy's going to clinch. He's going to Muay Thai. He's going to look so good. I don't understand how he's a big dog here. I got Chidi. Now, maybe I got something wrong with the gas tank. Maybe I got something wrong with Dos Santos. I don't understand why he's as big as a favorite as he is. He lost to Randy Brown, who took an L again recently. Big height and reach disadvantage. He drew Fakardinov, who is probably, a little bit of a. I just think he struggles against these guys. I don't understand why he's playing welterweight against a guy that's 6'3" with massive reach. I think the clinch is a big advantage here. You're going to see knees and kicks and elbows, and it could go down fast. I think in a welterweight bout here, I think Dos Santos. I feel like he's more of a. He seems like this is where he's a 165er, right? You know what I mean? This guy Dos Santos, he'd be a great matchup for like Gilbert Burns at 165, something like that. The welterweights that can't cut down the lightweights. That it's against a weight bully and Chidi, who's pretty much a middleweight. Let's be honest, but he cuts because he needs to, and there's no 175. So this is why this almost seems like a 175er versus a 165er. If I had one of my split weight class situations that I always want to dive more into. But I like Chidi here. I think, man, he looked good in his last fight. Ezekiel did too. I don't know why I called him Ezekiel. That is not his Elizu Zaliski dos Santos. But yeah, let's just go Chidi here. Remember the name Chidi. Njokani. Yeah, man. He has taken some losses, but he has looked really good. The fight against Jared Gooden, man, I feel like how is it not going to be something different? So let's go Chidi right there. And then we'll move on to the main event of the evening. Marvin, the Italian stallion Vettori, 19-7-1 coming off a loss versus Roman Dolidze, 14-3-0 coming off a win. 2-inch height advantage, 2-inch reach advantage for Dolidze against Marvin Vettori, who has only last fought Jared Cannonier or Brandon Allen if you count the casinos. Didn't look good against Cannonier. This is a rematch against Dolidze, but they're going 5 rounds. But yeah, I don't understand why they don't put Roman Dolidze, Marvin Vettori too. They don't even know they fought previously. These guys, this is a throw-in main event for some reason. These guys got contracts they got to fulfill. This is probably one of the least exciting main events, but I think the card is going to be great. I think up and down, I think we'll see some great performances and some great cards, and I'm excited to watch it. I'm excited to watch it overall. But I think this is one of the most snoozer main events you could ever see. I think this has a 5-round decision all over it with guys not pushing the pace. Dolidze gassed out in the 5th round against Gaziv. Was that Gaziv that he fought? No, Imavov, right? Majority decision because he didn't push the pace. He beat Kevin Holland because he broke his rib. Beat Anthony Smith, didn't look good. I don't know who the frick to pick, dude. Dude, every Italian that I've watched since I've watched the UFC has just been taking L's. I just think Vettori's taking an L here to Dolidze. He's a boring fighter, but for some reason, the judges like think he looks so good in there. I think he'll have a lot of confidence taking Imavov to a majority decision, which, I mean, I guess he drew one of the fights. So one of the people I don't know what happened. So Dolidze. This is not an exciting main event for me. I don't have a lot of confidence in any of these fighters. I really hope Vettori comes in there and looks good, but I am not picking Vettori in there and he comes in there and stinks the bed. These are both guys, like, this is the giant douche versus the turd sandwich. It's like, who do you want to pick here? Marvin Vettori, the giant douche, or the turd sandwich, Roman Dolidze? Little, like, crip walking on Anthony Smith in the third round because you're winning on points and shit like that, not trying to go for a finish. You know, like these guys, they're like both the same. They're the mirror image here. So it's like kind of pick where you want. You can understand why Vettori's a favorite. He has massive experience and, you know, he's fought some of the best guys in the world in their prime. You know, Adesanya, Costa, Whitaker. You know, and he beat Dolidze off of some of those losses. So I can see him definitely getting a win here. But I don't know, man. I don't know. But you guys pick. Comment below the picks of the winners. Pick the entire fight card. All the way from the early prelims to the main event. 100% pick correction, and I'll give you $100. We'll do a recap. I'm going to give you my effort. I feel very good about a bunch of these picks. I got to like a lot of the upsets, but there's about 3 or 4 of the fights that, oh my God, can go either freaking way this week. I have no clue. A lot of fights I feel very strongly about, and there are some like this one that I just can't even wrap my head around. Like, how do the matchmakers make this a main event? How do they, you know, I understand how they get these guys to agree to the fight because they're probably ducking other guys. Be like, what do you guys think about this guy? He goes, okay, I like him. Similar matchups too. Again, they do a good job putting mirror matchups together, the UFC, and I like that's a main event 5 rounds. So at least like we'll see these guys scrap it out, and that actually makes me think we could get a finish. These guys gassing out in the 5th round. If anybody, it's Dolidze. Like that's why I think like Corey is a favorite here because he's probably more live 3, 4, 5 to get a finish. Put my man out and him not come out in the corner just because he's been there. He's been in title fights. He's been in 5 rounders. Been in there against Warriors, and Dolidze has looked well over at times. And yeah, but I'm picking Dolidze here. Frick, I kind of want to pick Vettori here, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I got my coin here. I need to flip a coin. We'll make an official pick. We'll do a recap. 13, 14 fights on the card. I don't want to talk forever here, but man, this one's got me at a toss up. Corey been on a long layoff. Lost to Cannonier. Cannonier looked good in his return. I don't want to hold that against him here. I might do the reversal, and I'm picking Vettori here. Let's do the reversal on the Italian Vettori, and just pray that he don't take an L. We're doing the reversal on Vettori. Reversal on Vettori here. Reversal on Vettori. 3, 4, 5. I think Vettori's alive. No knockdowns in the UFC. I'm going to talk my copium myself on the reversal. So if that gives any indication how I feel about this fight, I don't know. I got to pick my brethren, Marvin Vettori. Let's go do a recap now, ladies and gentlemen. Should be a great fight here. I got Dubin on the upset early on. If Elder fights, I don't think they're fighting Elder. Josie Nunez. We got Andre Lima. Josiah Musasa. Diyar Nurgazov. Sam Hughes. Cortez Acosta. AJ Cunningham, big upset. Damon Blackshear, Alex the Great Hernandez, Kevin Vallallos, Chidi Giacunani, and we're going Marvin the Italian Stallion Vettori. Like, comment, subscribe. Your picks in there for 100%. If you pick them all right, let me know who you like, who you don't like. I said a lot of people I like in the videos and the build-ups, and a lot of people that are just kind of, you know, really, really close matchmaker, tough matchups. We're going to see if there's finish potential and conditions during the fight. But, man, thank you guys so much for supporting, watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Again, if you made it this far, I really appreciate bringing these videos to you. Loving the pick'em record, loving the hot streak, loving watching the fights, man. Been good action here lately. We're in the middle of a big run of UFC for at least for the next few weeks too. So let's keep it up. Let's keep it at 'em. Let's have a great day. Take care of yourselves, your family, your friends, and your health. Peace and love, everybody.